For Daily Ask Reddit. Health inspectors of Reddit, what are your horror stories? Did a brief stint as a public health inspector in 2007. Not a pleasant job, didn't stick it out for long. Couple highlights. Washing russets in the dish machine before baking. A low temp chlorine system, no less. An inch thick layer of dull pink scum found at the bottom of an ancient ice machine. Storage of frozen foods outdoors on a rooftop during the winter. No shelter, covered in snow. Ravens picking at various boxes of raw meat and seafood. A dish pit with a foot deep sinkhole just in front of the machine, covered with a pair of 2x6 planks to allow access. A line cook working the salad station with no pants. Quart sanitizer bottles filled with oven degreaser. A line cook breaking a plate on the flat top grill and attempting to continue cooking without proper cleaning. Not a health inspector, but we had a local Chinese restaurant get shut down for washing their dishes in the lake behind the restaurant. There used to be this restaurant in my town that got shut down years ago. It was like a Korean BBQ place, and everyone who remembers it claims the food was amazing. They are usually then a little hesitant to tell you why it got shut down. Apparently it was because they would recycle food. I've heard some horror stories from drug manufacturer audits. My favorite is this one. A company in China kept a door open in their manufacturing facility for ventilation. A huge no-no. When asked about it, they pointed to a 6-inch wall along the bottom of the door, a tripping hazard too, that they stated did a great job keeping out snakes and mice. Of course that little 6-inch barrier must have been added for a reason after the fact and certainly doesn't stop bats or birds or larger creatures in a drug manufacturing environment. Honorable mention to the drug company that had a strung up dead deer and a birthday cake in their drug storage cold room. I got a complaint that someone saw a mouse run through the kitchen and dining room, so I was like whatever, sure, I'll check it out. I get there and there is sewage backing up from the drains and starting to smell like shit. Okay, pretty gross. I accidentally kicked the prep table and heard a pitter-patter. Look in the aluminum foil. Roaches. Look in some of the food containers. Roaches. Look in back room. There is a wall/flat large object resting against the wall, and I move it, and the entire wall was covered in roaches. Shut them down pretty quick and had them call Orkin in front of me and make an appointment to get it resolved. This was about 2 years ago, so that was pretty interesting. Was not doing a health inspection, but I was on a road trip and stopped at a Taco Bell. One of the workers was wearing a glove on one hand. It was full of blood, and he was still working. To his credit, it didn't look like he was getting blood everywhere, but there's only so much a glove can do. I honestly felt bad for them. They were understaffed and couldn't really spare a worker, but this dude needed to get his hand checked out by a medical professional. So I told the manager that I was going to call someone to come out right now if they didn't let him clock out and deal with his hand. And then I left because I did not want to eat there anymore. Am an insurance inspector went down to inspect the basement of a Chinese takeout restaurant, which seemed oddly small, cold, and find the boiler or fuse box. Told this to the owner, who removed a sheetrock wall. The grease trap had overflowed and there were at least 2 inches of grease on the floor. They had put down some wood planks to walk on. I was gagging. Truly one of the most disgusting sights I ever had the misfortune to see. This is an almost story. Same premise. Chinese restaurant. Sanitary sewer backed up and was literally pumping feces into their basement. Put up a fake wall to block the door to the basement. That is until the basement smell was overpowering. At that point the sewage was almost 3 feet deep. I just couldn't believe it until I saw pictures. I used to work in a pizza place. One day, I grabbed a ketchup bottle off of one of the tables to fill it up. I opened it, and it was full of maggots. People had been using it. I worked at a certain fast food ice cream chain. One week we had a shake machine breakdown, so a repairman was called. The machine had been leaking the shake mix for months if not years. So much of the interior machinery was covered in months old gooey shake mix with maggots that had gotten stuck in the goop and died. It's been 17 years and it still makes me feel queasy to think about.